As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff, Booner, and Lukas, who will be joining in a short period of time. He won't be too long. Well, we got a lot to get to. It's another great show. It's Friday, man. Friday shows are always the best. We get to recap the week, talk some things that happened today. We have breaking news before the show. It's not Lions related, but it does tie back to the Lions in a way, and that's Brock Purdy getting his bag, which we'll get to, because it does kind of tie back to Goff getting his extension. And there's a lot of other things to get to today, Boone. I'm excited. Well, how are you doing, man? It's Friday. You got the weekend coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you got going on?
Doing good. I mean, the Brock Purdy stuff threw me off a little bit today. I knew it was going to happen. I was kind of telling. I've been warning the people for a while. Hey, there's a Brock Purdy deal in the works here. Just keep an eye out for it. And then it finally happened. Yeah, I'm pumped up though for today's show. I feel like we have a pretty packed show, a good show, a lot of things going on. Typically in the off season, it's like trying to find things. It felt like today there was just a lot to talk about. Not any like massive news, but some good conversations to be had. But yeah, it's beautiful out too today. I don't know if you went outside. It's unbelievable out there. I almost went and stopped and got an ice cream cone on my way here to the show, to the office here. I drove right past the ice cream place and I looked at it and I went, should I do it? And I didn't do it.
It's nice. I mentioned this today. I was talking to somebody and I said it's starting to become the weather where you can't leave shit in the car, which like for me,
yeah.
Because typically how I do it is in the winter, I'll leave water bottles,
me too,
in the car. Now that it's this temperature,
I'll say it.
Because then
got a case of beer in the back of the car. I got to get it out in the trunk. It's been in there, and some of them were frozen from the winter. It was just like a backup. Ever needed it? You know what I mean? It was just like one. Hey, if you ever need, or if I ever need a drink, I've got it back there. It probably was when I was over. We were over at your place having a few drinks, and I just like had an extra. I'm taking this with me. I'll put it in the back, and I got to get that out.
That's how it is now. You can't leave shit in the car, man. You can't leave water, or else it turns into boiling fucking water.
Did you know that it's bad? Like you can get sick or something could happen if you leave water in there because of the toxins in like the water bottle, the plastic. My cousin was telling me about it. I had water bottles in there and they were like boiled. And she said, hey, babe, you might want to throw them away. So, yeah, learn that. I think it's true. I think there's actually something with it.
Honestly,
if it gets to a certain temperature, I mean, you got to think about it. Like it's like burning plastic, right? It's like hot plastic.
It checks out. It checks out. Think about it.
Did you get hit by the storm last night too, by the way?
Didn't even notice it, but apparently there was a tornado warning. I don't know. Or watch. There was a tornado watch, not a warning.
There's a warning where I am, and it woke me. On my phone, I got an alert. It woke me straight up. And everyone
you were shitting bricks.
Oh, bro, everyone in the house, I'm down in the basement. Everyone's coming down to the basement. I'm like, I'm up. You know what I mean? Like it's like 1 a.m. I'm like, I'm up now. I'm talking to everyone. Everyone's half asleep. Hey, they're like, shut up, dude. Go sit down. Go back to your bed.
Warning. I don't think we got because we're not. I mean, I can see why you got a warning.
Yeah, I think there was a tornado like pretty close to me actually. If I read all these comments correctly, on these the interwebs.
Yeah, I would honestly. Before I went to bed last night, I saw it was storming, but it didn't. It's not like it wasn't like a storm where you're like, holy shit, you know what I mean? You have to go outside.
It was by me, dude. I thought there was a war going on outside. You know how you have your window in the basement? I have my little window. That window right behind you, I have one just like that, and I'm sitting.
Yep.
Hey, it's like it looked like war out there. Like it was like, have you ever seen the movie World of Wars? It was like that, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then it sounded like there was just like a tornado ripping through for like 20 minutes. It felt like it was just like, oh my gosh. I thought there was gonna be I thought there was gonna be a tornado. It was crazy. Hopefully everyone's okay. I know there was a lot.
Well, you survived. All right.
Yeah.
You survived.
Me and tornadoes, man. That's the battle of the century.
Did you see the Lions tickets going around before? I just want to just show this off. People are freaking. I know we've already talked about the tickets, but I just saw the ticket prices and
Here we go.
Lions Bears at Ford Field.
Yeah.
Johnson's return. You know what standing room only is? $400.
Jeez. That's a lot of money for standing room only. Now, I'll sympathize a little bit with fans because before I was like, "Hey, welcome to being good." That's a lot of money for standing room.
This on X. Shout out to, who was it? I don't know how to say that name, but there it is. But look at this, $400 standing room only, and then you can obviously get seated for over $400. But yeah, it's. With fees, I mean, you make it 500. I mean, basically, it's going to be like 470 with fee, whatever the hell the fees are. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it comes with the territory of being good.
Yeah.
Understand that. It does. But I'm just speaking from a consumer perspective. No way I'm ever paying that much to go to a game. There's no way. I'm not doing that. That's just
I would rather. No, I'm with you. I would rather watch it at home at that point. Like if I'm paying that much money, I get there are people who enjoy like being in person and seeing it, but like to me, there's no difference being in person and being at home. Like, yeah, you get to see it, but spending $400, like I'll spend $400 on like food and like some drinks and sit there around, with the boys. Like we'll go somewhere and watch it or do our watch parties. But that's a lot of money. That's actually. I remember earlier, a month ago, I was like, listen, this is what it is. I still believe that. Like, this is still what it is to be good. But I can sympathize a little bit. That's crazy. That's a lot of money for a game. I think the Steelers game is around the same price too. Someone was telling me. So I think all of the games are pretty similar. Maybe some more, maybe some a little less, but
the Bears, obviously, it's probably the biggest home game.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. So, but $400 is crazy. Well, it's actually more than that. So give or take $450, something like that after fees. I hope you just muted yourself. You're still muted. See, I mean, like this is it's okay. You're battling. Jomo says secondary market. Actually, those are verified. I don't think those are even resale. Those are directly from the Lions, and they're $400. So it's ridiculous. So I sympathize with people that actually are, paying money to go to games, and they have to pay $400 and something. Now, Freddie says he'll be at the Bengals and Commanders games on the road.
He reached out to me, Freddie. That's on me. I didn't respond. I'll reach back out, Freddie. That's on me. I think I'm back though. I don't know what was going on there for a second. That was weird.
Damn, Commanders and Bengals? Shit.
Yeah, that's huge. Those are two good. Those are two very good games.
Yeah, those are
very good.
Also, I did see the what the Lions proposed, by the way, the playoff seedings.
Yeah.
They're making a little bit of progress on those playoff seedings. NFL owners are meeting. They're going to vote in the next week on new playoff seedings based on team records in the NFL. It's what the Lions pitched because of the situation. They had to play the Vikings for essentially the NFC North. But the fact that even if the Lions lost that game, it's like they're 14-2, or it would be, 14-3. It's like, and here's the actual graph of the tweet. But I 100% wholeheartedly agree with this. I think the winning your division, I think it's important, obviously. But what gets me is you have these teams that are in a bad division that get rewarded, and that's what I don't want. I want the regular season. The regular season in the NFL already matters a lot, but I want the regular season to matter even more. Meaning, every win, every game, it matters. Not only for like it usually does to win your division, but now it's going to be seeding just based on the records. And then there's reseeding potentially after the first round. That's part of it as well.
I don't hate it, to be honest. I think I was for the rule when they put it out. The only knockback is the whole like, hey, if you do win your division, you should get a first round home game. I think there was something in it, and I don't know if that's going to be talked about when they kind of come together here next week, to where if you're over 500 or if you hit a certain record and you win your division, you're automatically having a home game. So I think that would be smart, in my opinion, to have something in there like a caveat. I don't know how that would work, but it's just like those teams though that get in at, they're like 8-9, 9-8, and barely sneak in the 10. Like last year, that situation last year, I think it opened a lot of eyes, not just the Detroit Lions in the NFC North, but in the NFL in general, to where there are some conferences who might run into that situation where you have a 13 and a 14 win team or a 14 and 15 win team and you're just battling to have a home game, and you have 3 or 4 more wins than a team that's playing at home, and you have to go on the road and play them. So it doesn't make much sense. So I'm glad they are doing it. I think the fact that it got proposed at the league meetings and then they said, let's table it and let's talk about it here in a few months. Most like rules, if that happens, that means there's some serious consideration behind it. And they're like really looking at trying to get that thing done. So I think there's a good chance that this gets done. And by the way, too, I don't know if people knew this, the Lions proposed it, but another team, I think another front office came to Detroit, the front office of Detroit, and talked about proposing it after that whole situation happened. And another team was the one that was like, hey, would you guys be the ones that push this? This is something we want to do as well. So it wasn't just like the Lions seeing it with the Vikings. It was a couple other teams went to them and said, let's
the
do
Commanders.
it.
They were well, not them, no, but they're a good example of a team that could use this. I mean, they went to Tampa last year.
Yeah.
And they had a better record, and they beat the Buccaneers. But like, Washington should have had that home game. I don't know. Because they had the Eagles in their division, so they get basically punished for having a better division. Like, I don't know. I get it. Divisions matter, but at some point you got to look at this thing like, well, the Commanders earned the home game over the Bucs. They had to play the Eagles twice, and they still had a better record than the Bucs. So I don't
crazy.
know. Yeah, it's like Minnesota. Like Minnesota had to go on the road, but Minnesota played the Lions twice, Packers twice. Like they had the division they had to go through. And
the NFL is the only league that does that too. Every other league, you get home field advantage if you have a better record. It's the NBA, it's seeded 1 through 8, and you have home court advantage if you're the 1 through 4 seed. It has nothing to do with the divisions. And I know winning the division, people don't want to get rid of that, but it just doesn't make sense logically, to be honest, to have a team that has a worse record going on the road.
And here's the thing, real quick, I want to
better record.
Because the rule change makes divisional games pointless. They would mean the same as every other game. Here's the thing. That's something, what's your division record? All that stuff. Yeah, you're going to look at, but it's not going to be pointless. There's still going to be rivalries. There's still, obviously, every game matters anyway. So you're going to have to win those games to have
still play them twice a year.
And you still got to play them twice a year. So it's like maybe you're looking at it. It's like, winning your division, it's tough because it's not like teams are going to like, well, we don't have to win our division. It's like you're going to try and win your division, but you also want the best record. Both.
It's the only league and only sport that does it like this. The only. If someone can name me another sport that does it like that, I mean, I would love to know. But I believe like you have teams that win divisions, but every single professional league does that. And it's like, all right, how much outside of the one home game, how much does winning your division matter? Right? Like it's a big deal because of that. But like, do you even get a trophy for winning your division? Like, just give me the best record and let's get seeded the highest here through the playoffs. Like it's kind of how it should be.
Look at this. My mom's name is Booner. On one of the morning shows I was watching today on ESPN, they were saying how they think the NFL should go to a lottery system for the draft.
I saw that as well.
Who
was that? Oh, it was a big name. Oh my gosh. Hold on.
Oh, they should be held accountable for that. Who?
It might have been your guy. Might have been one of your guys. No. Oh, it was. Aren't you a Greeny fan? A Mike Greenberg fan?
I like
it. Was Mike Green? It was on Get Up.
I like Greeny.
Mike Greenberg. He broke it down. And I mean, we could. I don't know if we can watch ESPN stuff, but
Greeny.
I have the video here. It's an intro.
Why in the hell would the NFL ever do that?
He broke it down.
Yeah. break it down.
Think about if the 49ers had the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah,
I'm out on the lottery.
Yeah,
so.
it's not a lottery. The NFL out of all leagues. This is what frustrates. They have the best. They have the best. If you look at parity, equality, you know what I mean. Every team gets a chance. You know what I mean. And every other sport's struggling with it. But let's look at the other sports and copy it. The NFL has great parity. New teams pop up every year. It's fun.
It is crazy to think about, Jeff, though.
Why mess
yeah, I'm with you. And that's one of those things where it's you mess with it, you ruin it, and then you have to go back on it. It's a weird situation. There was oh my gosh, what was it? Oh, I mean, we talked about it last time it happened, or we talked about this. You're worried about tanking. Last year was a perfect example of teams not tanking. The Patriots had a chance at the number 1 overall pick. Joe Milton goes in and wins a game. The Giants have a chance. Was it Tommy DeVito or Drew Lock? It was, or someone who came in and wins the game.
Yeah, Drew
so
Lock.
It's not like teams are just completely, they might want to, but players aren't going to let it happen. Players are going to go out there and play at the end of the day. A backup quarterback say, I'm playing. I'm playing for my career here.
Yeah,
I don't like the lottery system. I don't, because a team can get stuck in what is it called, purgatory? Is that?
Yeah.
Is that
what if you win 3 games on the year and you get a top 4 pick? That's full. You know what I mean?
You win 3 games and you're 7th.
Yeah, they would probably do it even if they did it the worst odds could only go to 4. It's that's still terrible. 4 in this draft would have got
bad.
4
Will
in this
Campbell.
draft would have got you Will Campbell.
Ashton Genty. It's not bad. Ashton Genty's not bad at all, dude.
Actually, now I think about it, it's a pretty fucking good player. No, but you get the point, all right? You get the point. If Myles Garrett came out or something, at the time, those transformative guys, you want to get those guys. Right?
That's a pretty good player.
Yeah, I was like, shit, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good player. Yeah, that's a pretty good player.
Like Ashton Genty.
Yeah. It's that's a consolation prize or something. Oh, you're getting Ashton Genty, probably one of the greatest running backs in the league already. All right, let's keep it pushing. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I'm curious. I want to get to this Brock Purdy stuff.
All right, let's do it.
Brock Purdy got a bag. It was actually announced probably 2 hours ago, something like that, 3 hours ago. And I saw it pop across my screen. And to be honest with you, I started feeling more confident that Brock would get paid. I'd be it's going to happen. But then in my head, I'm thinking, the 49ers are doing this because of what they've had to go through before they got Brock Purdy. They just haven't been able to find even a guy like Brock. And I don't even think Brock's do I think Brock can win them a Super Bowl? I don't know. I don't think you can look at Brock and be like, yes, that dude's a problem for years to come. But I think he's real. I think he's good. I think he's top 10 when he's playing at his best. He's mobile. And they gave him a 5-year deal. And his story is incredible. I mean, he went from the last overall pick to $50+ million a year now. That's what he's making. Yep. So, the story...
Mr. Irrelevant.
The story is amazing. But the 49ers, they're in an interesting position because how they've been able to have so much success over the last handful of years, although, to the detriment of the quarterback, not having a great quarterback, they've been able to have cheap quarterbacks, and then they have a stacked roster. Now you're paying Brock a lot of money. They have a lot of vets that are making a lot of money. I don't know how John Lynch can draft. He's shown he can draft, so they're going to have to continue to draft. But this contract, and I'm going to pull up this just to get the comparison that you put out, just kind of see where everyone's ranking. He is at $53 million annually, right with Goff. Now, the guarantees are different. He got more guarantees because he's got another year on his deal, too. He's got 5. Jared's got 4. But Tua, 53.1. Love, 55. Lawrence, 55. Burrow, 55. Allen, 55. Dak, 60, which is crazy to look at, by the way. I think this is it's tough because you're battling between it's a deal that the 49ers had to get done, but I'm looking at this thing can Brock ultimately lead you to a Super Bowl? And yes, he can. Can he win it? Can he face one of these AFC teams and out-duel them? I don't think so, to be honest with you, especially when they lose guys that are so valuable because they can't afford to keep them. So I'm battling with this one, Boone. I don't like extending Brock, but I understand why, because they're desperate. I understand it. I'm not a big like Brock Purdy's the savior guy. So I don't like this one. Like I would take Goff over Purdy, and then everyone else, of course, like Tua health wise. But I don't know about this one, Boone. I'm battling with this one.
Yeah, I think the only reason, at least to me, that it makes a little sense is because they feel like they already got their guy in the building. And he knows the system. He's very familiar with Kyle Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan, obviously, like, he's not going to pay Brock Purdy. What was the full deal? 200 and something million. I believe you're not going to pay a quarterback that much money, especially an offensive minded head coach, if he doesn't feel comfortable to move forward with him. And obviously Kyle Shanahan feels like he can win a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy, or else they would have drafted, or they would have kind of found a way to trade for someone or move on from Brock Purdy, right? Or they wouldn't have given him the long-term deal. They would give him like a year or two and kind of use him as a bridge. So I see that side of things with them, to where they just feel like in the building he's proven enough, which he has. Like, Jeff, I would take Jared Goff 10 times out of 10, but when you watch Brock Purdy and you watch those games, when they have a good roster around him, he wins games, right? Like, he knows how. That's one thing that some quarterbacks don't know how to do. Even quarterbacks that are on this list that are on good teams and get paid more than them, they can't figure out ways to win games even when there's a good team around them. Like Trevor Lawrence. Has he had that bad of a team around him his career in the NFL? No. But he throws the picks in the playoffs and doesn't finish playoff games and loses in the playoffs. And it's the same thing. Like Tua, constantly hurt. Well, why do they pay him that much? Jordan Love, what has he proven? They pay him that much. So I think it's like a guy in the building who has proven, hey, if you give me the pieces, I will win you games. That's where I think they look at with Brock Purdy. And to me, I know you guys hate this, and some people agree, some people disagree. I look at wins as a quarterback stat. Like, the player that has the ball in their hand every single offensive possession controls the outcome of a game, right? The funny thing that I look at with people who try and tell me quarterback isn't, or winning isn't a quarterback stat, those same people will bring up, hey, why'd you lose versus the Commanders? Why did the Detroit Lions lose versus the Washington Commanders? It's because your quarterback had 4 turnovers. Oh, so you lost because of him? Yes. And if he doesn't do that, you win, right? So I think it's a stat in that sense, to where if you have a quarterback that's consistently winning when guys are healthy and the team's there, it's hard to move on from a guy like that, in my opinion. That's how I look at the Purdy situation. It's just, hey, he knows how you're comfortable winning with him, and you don't want to just move on from that. And me, Jeff, you know it best. Like, you're not guaranteed to get a quarterback in there that can do what he's doing. You can't. You're not always guaranteed that.
No, you're not. You're not guaranteed that, especially you draft a guy at the last overall pick. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. The only thing I would be worried about, if I was the 49, if I was John Lynch, I was Kyle Shanahan, you essentially have had 1.5 of great Brock Purdy, 1.5 seasons of great Brock Purdy. And he's only been in the league 3 years. So the other half, like last year, everyone was hurt. Obviously, he struggled. Everyone went down around him. But I at least with like Jordan Love, it was a similar scenario because he sat and then he played and was really good. But they gave him like a 1-year extension before that, I think. And then he played and then they gave him a bag. But at least with Jordan, you could see he has the physical tools. He's bigger, bigger arm. Stuff like more talented, I think I would say, with Jordan Love, even though last year he regressed a little bit. So we're going to see how that contract ages. But with Brock, it just gives me a little more hesitation. But we disagree about the quarterback win thing, but I get what you're saying. I mean, quarterbacks can win and lose you games very easily. I understand that. I think
that's the number one thing.
I think what I struggle with it is like, and there are always exceptions, but when you bring up guys that have went to Super Bowls and they're not great quarterbacks, it's like I don't look at that quarterback as like that team as like QB wins. Like Jimmy Garoppolo making 2 Super Bowls. It's like, but you're right. I mean, I think it depends. Like I'm not going to say it's different for every quarterback, but if a quarterback's out there being consistent and winning you football games, he deserves the credit. And like for me, Jared Goff. And maybe it's different for quarterbacks in certain situations, but like Brock Purdy,
he could easily go out there and lay an egg and be bad in that offense. And you're like, he's Mr. Irrelevant. Like, you never knew you were getting, but he goes in there and steps in. Like, the one thing I hated is people are like, hey, any quarterback can step in. And like, yeah, okay, that's true. It's true to an extent, but I think you still have to be able to be good. You have to be able to read defenses. You still have to be able to play under a guy like Kyle Shanahan, whose mind is on a different level, right? So I think Brock, like, for him to go in there, he's a guy to where you can count quarterback wins as a quarterback stat, in my opinion. Now, there are guys who are on bad teams who you don't like, hey, it's not on him. He's just on a bad team. Or it's the opposite, where a guy's just really bad and he's on a really good team and he's getting pulled up by it because of it. And he's making mistakes, but they're winning because, like, all those quarterbacks in Pittsburgh for years they're winning games and going to the playoffs, but they just have such a good defense that's winning in those games, right? So I don't know. I just think with Brock, he's one of those guys to where you know what you're getting, and if you give him the pieces, you win. So I'm not going to say he's worth $53 million. I think it's a lot of money.
But he was due. Purdy. He was due. And I always mention that on the show, too. It's not always about the talent. It's about who's next. And obviously talent. But Brock was next. So he got that extra year of security, I'm sure. And that sacrificed some other things. Like, he probably wanted a little more money. And then they were like, well, we'll give you another year and more guarantees. We're not giving you 55, 56. But you look at some of these, at least these two contracts, Brock Purdy and Jared Goff compared. So Jared got 4 years, 212, 170 guaranteed, 53 per year. Brock got 5 year, 265, 181 guaranteed, and 53 per year. It averages out the same, but he got 11 more million guaranteed, and he got an extra year on the deal.
That's huge. I mean, that's good for Brock Purdy. That's great for Brock Purdy. I'd rather have the better quarterback in Jared Goff on less years and less money.
Well, that's and I've, at least with Goff, you have a large sample size. You know, you have a large sample size of productivity, 2 different systems, been to a Super Bowl already. So went to 2 NFC championship games. Almost said 2 Super Bowls, 2 NFC championship games. So he has a pretty impressive resume too. But here's the thing: I want to ask, like, are we done bringing up Jared Goff's contract to try and demean the guy? Is he overpaid still? Right now, what is he? He's right behind. Let me see. I have the list. Overall. Dak, Allen, Burrow, but a couple of those guys are tied. So 55 million, whatever. Guarantees are a little different. But he's in the next tier with like Tua, Brock, and then Jared Goff. Tua, Brock, Jared Goff. It's like Love's making more, Trevor Lawrence making more, Burrow's making more, rightfully so. Josh Allen, rightfully so, making more, but Dak making $7 million more. You shit me.
Dak being the highest paid. Can I say this with that list?
Yeah, go ahead, because I want
to. How many players on the list have won a Super Bowl?
On this, none.
Isn't that not crazy? The top 8 players at quarterbacks paid. Basically, the top 8 highest paid players in the NFL. Not one of them have won a Super Bowl.
Well, Mahomes could easily make 65, 70.
Chooses not to.
But he's like, I want to win Super Bowls. You know?
Yeah. I think the thing with Jared Goff and his contract is a lot of people do bring that up, Jeff. I mean, you know this, like any debate we get into with Jared Goff, a lot of people bring that up. He's overpaid, or I'll say this. I don't think he's overpaid. I think that's the wrong conversation. The conversation in Detroit is obviously you're trying to sign all these guys and you're paying a quarterback that much money. I don't think it's who you're paying. That's where I think people kind of, do you see what I'm saying? Like, go down the wrong lane a little bit. I think it's the fact that you're just paying the quarterback in general that much money when you have so many all-pro players and so many Pro Bowlers that you have to pay. I don't think it has anything to do with the player Jared Goff is, because call a spade, like, he's worth $53 million in my opinion. Like, he's a $50 million quarterback. He wins games. And he leads your team to win games. He took you to NFC Championship. And he puts
up numbers, man.
He was 15-2. Yeah, he's first in the NFL in passing touchdowns since 2022. First in yards. Like, you guys know those stats I give out all the time. He's a $50 million quarterback. It's the same thing with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is a $65, $70 million quarterback, but he doesn't get paid that much because he wants to take a step back, and he's okay with taking a pay cut because he probably makes so much money outside of football to where he can do that. So I just think there's that world to where there's a realistic side. And I saw someone in the chat already put it where hey, you have to restructure his deal. Jarrett's going to have to, maybe he has to take a little bit of a pay cut over the next few years. Being able to step up, just knowing like, hey, and I don't know if Jeff, if you think the same thing, and I don't want to count people's money, you know, and I don't want to be that guy, like, please take a pay cut for us. Like that Sue thing came out the other day. I don't know if you saw it, where Sue was like, hey, I took a pay cut my first contract with Detroit because they told me the next one they're going to make me the highest paid player in the NFL. And then they didn't do it and they kind of screwed him. They you know, it was like a handshake deal or a conversation.
Yeah, they said they're not making him more higher paid than a quarterback or something.
Yeah. And then the next contract, they said, hey, we'll do it for you in a couple of years. And he said, okay, I'll go out there, put up the numbers, which he did, all pro, all that. And then they're like, we're not doing it. I think with a guy like Jared Goff, he's already had a big deal. And now he has this big deal. There are guys who are looking for their first big deals, like Sam Laporta. Amon-Ra just got his. Panay. Jahmyr's going to be looking for his. I can go keep going. Brian Branch. If you're a guy like Jared Goff, who's the quarterback of this team, the leader, the heart of this team, you should restructure maybe. I don't know if you're able to like take less over the next few. I don't know how that's all works.
Yeah,
but find a way so these guys can get paid and you don't have to move on from everyone. If he wants to keep J-Mo, maybe that $53 million isn't enough. What does Patrick Mahomes make? Do you know?
Probably in the 40s.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you do that to keep a guy like J-Mo around? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and again, because I always hated people who always looked at the money of because I mean it's generational wealth. I'm never gonna tell a guy, hey, take less, man. No, like go get your bag. But when you're on like already your second big deal of your career, potentially could be a third in a few years. And there are guys on your team who you might have to move on from because you can't afford to give them their first deal. Maybe I'm not saying take $20 million less a year over the course of the year,
Turn
5 or 6
signing bonus or something like
figure something to where you're able to keep these guys in house, man. I think that's the only issue I have because I think he's a $50 million quarterback at the end of the day. Still,
it depends, I guess, on the situation. Like if I'm Burrow, no way I'm taking a pay cut with the Bengals. You know what I mean?
Right? That's situationally.
You find a way to re-sign T. I ain't taking less. You know, I think it's fair to expect Goff to restructure. I think he will. I think that's kind of because Goff understands that. It's like, hey,
dude, I think his cap it's like $70 million next year.
Yeah, definitely a restructure. Let
me double check that.
Mark Brunell said it. He only has one thing on his mind right now: winning a Super Bowl.
Yep,
that is it. So in order to do that, you have to have good players, and good players can be expensive. So you have to find ways to keep as many as you can. Now, it's not saying Goff has to, take a significant discount because that is unfair to ask a player, again, who's a very good player. And honestly, and I want to say this about the contract, I don't think it's not that bad. It's really not in a big picture sense. When you look at everyone else getting paid, I just mentioned Trevor Lawrence, who I've always been a big fan of. And I'll even admit right now, no way in hell he deserves more than Goff. But I understand why he's younger. They're looking at the future. I get that. But Jordan Love, more than Goff. Like, I think Jordan Love and Goff right now are right at the same about ranking, I would say personally. But again, they're looking at upside and what he can be. Dak Prescott, no way in hell he should be making 60. So when you look at the marketplace for quarterbacks and then you look at Goff and what he's getting paid, I know he's not. People have this image in their head of what a quarterback should look like in the NFL and what quarterback they want. And I understand why you want Josh Allen. I understand why you want Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, all these quarterbacks that do magnificent, special, magician-like things that are just insane. And they can make things happen. I understand that. But the reality is, if you don't have any of those guys, you could be a team like the Steelers who don't have anyone. They don't have a quarterback. So you have to look at the flip side, right? You have to look at the teams that don't have a quarterback or maybe have a quarterback that's just not good. They just don't. Like, in my opinion, I look at Seattle. Seattle went from Geno Smith, who was good. He was fine. Many people had him over Goff, which was insane, but he's fine. They pay Sam Darnold, not $50 million, but they gave him a long-term extension. What the hell is he going to do for you? Nothing. He's not winning.
You're going to win games, and you're just going to be average after that.
Exactly. You're stuck. So at least if you're not going to have Josh Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, any of these guys, you have someone that's just right under them. It's Jared Goff. And he's been to a Super Bowl. He's been to NFC Championship games. I mean, there's quarterbacks that many would say are pretty good that haven't been to, don't have those accomplishments. At least
all those guys that make the money.
Yeah, so
none of them have them.
My frustration comes into play is like, guys, we all know what Jared is, right? He's not one of those. He's not, athletic and making plays with his legs, but he is what he is, man. He's accurate when he's protected, which is why Brad invested in the offensive line again. He gets it done. He does. And is he capable of having games like he did in Washington? Yes, he can. That's the reality. So you're in the recipe to winning a Super Bowl is you have Goff, you invest in the offensive line, you have weapons, all that stuff, like the offense they already have. And you bring them a defense. You bring them a defense that can take the ball away, get stops, make plays. And then all that put together, and as long as you don't fuck it up coaching-wise, you have a chance, in my opinion, in the postseason. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool with the contract. I don't have a problem with it. I know people are going to bring it up every time he has a bad game, but it's the reality, guys. You don't have Lamar, but you also don't have Mason Rudolph starting. So let's look at the positive here, okay?
I think people don't put that together. Like, even the guys that are ahead of him right now, I'm not saying, and this is going to sound dumb, people are going to be like, well, why wouldn't you take Jordan Love or these guys? To me, it's you paid a guy $50 million who's been to a Super Bowl, an NFC Championship game on top of that, multiple NFC Championship games. He's constantly won in his career. He's led teams. He's turned around this team. Name a player, and Jeff, I'll let you do this because you have the list over there. Do you have the list still?
Mm-hmm.
Name a player on that list that has been to a conference championship game outside of Josh Allen.
There's only a conference championship game. There's
conference. We won't even do Super Bowl. Just conference championship.
So you have Josh Allen. You have
outside of Josh Allen. Take Josh Allen out.
Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy, and Jared Goff.
Thank you. 8 players on there. Jordan Love hasn't done anything. Dak Prescott constantly. He's been in the league how long? Almost 10 years. Hasn't done anything. Who else is on the list, Jeff? Who am I missing here? Trevor Lawrence hasn't done anything. Tua, but he's getting paid more. Tua, like, how comfortable are you? To me, it's the same thing with the Brock conversation. Winning matters. The argument being like, hey, is Jared Goff a $50 million quarterback? Yes, he is. Do you want to pay a quarterback $50 million because you have a million other contracts to pay? No, you don't. Like, I think that's what it comes down to. And it feels like, Jeff, maybe it's just me. Jared Goff is kind of in the middle of the crossfires of that just because the contract is so big, right? Now, if it was Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, people would be like, oh, yeah, fine.
Yeah, they don't care.
You still win games with the guy, man. Like, you're winning games with the guy. And there are players that get paid more than him that don't win games. If you put – I don't care if a player is better than Jared Goff. If you put Jared Goff – and Jeff, you can cook me for this if you want, but if you put Jared Goff in some of these other situations that have teams built, if you throw Jared Goff on the Green Bay Packers, I bet you at some point they start winning a little more than Jordan Love, and that question's gone. And I think Jordan Love overall is a better player because he has mobility and he has a better arm. But I think he has taken multiple teams. He's a leader. He's been in the NFL. He knows what it takes. And that's something that not everyone has. You can have all the attributes and the abilities and the skills. Can you win? Right? Like Johnny Manziel had everything. How was his leadership? Not that good, huh? How'd that work out? So there are other assets or aspects of an NFL kind of game and being a quarterback than just, man, is he mobile and can he throw the ball really far? Like, how's Anthony Richardson doing? Doesn't know how to win in the NFL. He's about to lose a job potentially. So it's like, that's not everything. And I think people are a little stuck on the Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen's. And it's like, dude, you have to be the luckiest team in the world to get guys like that. It's hard to get guys like that, especially when you're winning and you don't have top 5 picks every year. It's tough.
Yeah.
And you have a quarterback that can win.
The thing people are going to default to is like Jared will never win a Super Bowl. But the problem I have is like, then what's the solution? Like, what's the solution?
I don't mean to do this to you, but you were on the Hendon Hooker. But then I think you kind of realized after the Hendon Hooker one.
Yeah, that was my solution, and it was a failure.
And you realized Because remember what I was saying that whole time, Jeff. And you know what's crazy? I'm sorry to cut you off on it. You know what's crazy? You used to tell me 3 or 4 years ago, when I first met you and we started talking about quarterbacks, you used to tell me how it's hard to hit on a quarterback. Quarterbacks barely hit. And then 2 years later, you're like Hendon Hooker. And then now we're sitting here going, didn't hit.
Because Brad drafted him. All right. I thought I was onto something. But the thing that frustrates me is the just stating something it with no like, okay, give me the solution. Jared Goff can't win your Super Bowl. Where do you go from here? You trade him? Cool. What next? Who's starting? Ryan Tannehill? You can go get him out of free agency. Is that going to help your chances? Like, what the fuck's the solution? You're bringing a problem with no solution. Like, I'll tell you something to convince you. You have a better chance of winning a Super Bowl with Jared Goff than you do insert quarterback here, off the street, or trying to acquire one via trade or draft one at 28. It's not going to happen.
For example, Jeff, people who wanted Malik Willis because that was the solution to go win a Super Bowl. How is he doing? Right?
I mean, yeah, that was bad.
You see what I'm saying? Like that quarterback, it's like, okay, if you come to me with the solution,
high as a kite.
The one solution I will never take when you have a quarterback that can win games already is draft another quarterback and move on. That one I will not take because there is no quarterback ever in an NFL draft that is guaranteed to be a superstar or guaranteed to be that next player. No one. We heard it this year, Jeff. Remember how many analysts were coming out and being like, no one actually knows how to evaluate a quarterback. No one knows if a quarterback's going to be good. You just get lucky if you hit on one.
Like that's the hardest position to evaluate.
It is.
You don't know. There's things that you can't measure through just speaking to somebody. You have to see them work. You know what I mean? Like you
Brock
can
Purdy, last pick.
Yeah, exactly. Like Brock Purdy. Like they just took him. They're like, I like this
Tom
guy.
Brady.
Yeah, like it works out, but then you take guys at the top of the draft and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Like you said, you have to learn how to win in the NFL. It's hard. It's difficult. Like
some people just.
I want to bring this up before we move on because it's just like Weezy D, Jackson Dart in the 20s, right? We don't even know. Like
Jackson Dart could be a bust for all we know.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be good. I don't. Listen, the best people who cover the draft, the best coaches in the NFL don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks at the level to be like, yeah, he's going to be a Super Bowl winner. You don't know.
Yeah.
You never know. That's the problem where I think people are like, oh, you can draft a quarterback here. Like, if you're building a Super Bowl team, like to that, who was that comment? I'm sorry, I missed the name.
Weezy D also.
Weezy D, like, how mad would you have been if the Lions and Jackson Dart was available, drafted 28th overall Jackson Dart, and then the people who don't like Goff or think Goff's overpaid are like, yep, Jackson Dart's your solution to go win a Super Bowl, and you trade Jared Goff. That would be the dumbest move of all time. And that's where I think the point is with Jeff. It's like, if you don't want Jared Goff for this money, who are you going to have? You're not going to draft Jackson Dart, and Jackson Dart's not coming in year one and winning you a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no.
So it's just like, there's no solution unless Josh Allen becomes available and you don't have to give up all this. Or Patrick Mahomes, you're with Goff.
Even when one was available, he couldn't stop getting massages. It was Deshaun Watson. That was the only guy of that caliber that was available. Like, and he was in that tier. Dude,
and the one before that, who was the one before that? You know it. Which that might be one of the biggest ones in NFL history that worked out, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, exactly.
So there are examples, but if you don't have a plan and one's not realistic, no.
In this one too, like Weezy, you mean like how the Chiefs moved on from number 1 overall pick, Alex Smith. I think Alex Smith. I love Alex Smith. That dude's a winner. You know, he did what it took. He did what it took. That's what he does, and he worked really well with Andy Reid. They got to the playoffs. They had success. Like Jared Goff's better than Alex Smith. Like go look if you like, and this is why Klotz always brings up Alex Smith when we talk about like middle of the pack quarterbacks. It's like he could be Alex Smith. Like that's not like a I don't want to say it's like it's not an insult. It's a good thing. If you're Alex Smith, you're going to play a lot of years in the NFL. It's just he's not putting up numbers like Goff has. It's just not. That's not who he is. You know what I mean? So it's now if the Lions ever are in a position like the Chiefs were, where they made the playoffs, and they were picking in the 20s, and they traded up to 17, I believe, and took Mahomes. I think it was 17. I could be wrong. regardless, they moved up like 10, 12 picks, whatever, to take Patrick Mahomes, and they knew this dude was our guy. I think it might have been pick 12. I don't know, whatever the hell it was. But if you want to do something like that, then by all means, like if one draft, Brad looks at a quarterback and goes, if this dude's available in the teens, we're grabbing him. We're going up and getting him. So be it. Go draft one. But that's really the only solution out of it, Boone. You know, and
Yeah.
I don't know, what quarterbacks are coming out, but we'll see. And you got Goff under contract. So, yeah, I don't know. The whole Jared Goff, Alex Smith thing is better than that. Coach Walk, they simplified the offense for Watson. Apparently he's dumb as a box of rocks who likes happy endings. Yeah, I think he's pretty much done.
He's done in the NFL. I don't know. I mean, not in the NFL. I mean, if he wanted to, I'm sure he could be a backup somewhere. But I don't know. And maybe get a opportunity, but after that, I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty much over at this point. Hey, okay, enough Jared Goff. That's how I feel about this whole thing, guys. It's like, okay, you can keep bitching about the contract, but at some point we got to just be like, you know what? Is he the best quarterback in the league? No. Can he win a lot of games? Yeah. Can you have playoff success? Yeah. And sometimes it's okay to I don't want to call it settling, but you accept the fact of who he is and you appreciate him. And you say, you know what? It is what it is. It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. All right. Well, Deshae Townsend, the secondary coach for the Lions, brought up a player on that secondary that I think needs to be talked about a little bit more. And we have updates now on what position he'll officially be playing because Klotzy is the king of Rakestraw moving to nickel. Well, Deshae said no. They're going to let Ennis Rakestraw focus on playing more outside corner for the time being. Now, I love this and I don't love this. I love this because Deshae Townsend's making the decision. So I don't know Ennis Rakestraw in practice or whatever. I don't know what he's comfortable with. So that's, whatever he thinks is best. But the only thing that I don't like, or maybe I'm unsure about, is what's going on at nickel after Amik Robertson. Are we going to deal with this problem again where Brian's got to slide down to nickel? Because I think that's great, but you'd rather leave him at safety, right? That's kind of what happened last year. It's like,
yeah,
you needed him to play nickel because Amik had to move outside, all that shit. So I'm confused on who would be the backup nickel. I
didn't even think of that, Jeff.
It would be Avonte Maddox, I guess, would be the next nickel. He played nickel, but Ennis out on the outside. I don't think that's where he's going to play a lot. Because you think about it, DJ Reed's here for the next couple of years. Taron Arnold's going to be there.
Okay.
What's his path?
I be honest? I be honest?
What's his path?
I think it makes sense. And the reason it makes sense is if one of your corners go down, and I guess you could argue, hey, let's say Taron and DJ Reed. If you lose one of them for a couple games, you could say, okay, let's move Amik outside. He's not going to be your nickel anymore. And then you go Ennis there. They might feel more comfortable and be more confident if Rakeshaw's healthy and he kind of gets the hang of it for him to be outside to where if a guy goes down, you're throwing him out there and maybe they just don't want to keep moving Amik around. Maybe they just want Amik to be a full-time nickel and they don't want to have like, hey, if someone gets hurt, we're moving Amik and then we're going to move Brian and then we're going to move Avonte Maddox to safety or Avonte to nickel. Like it's just less movement. In my opinion, if you think about it that way, it's less movement around in the secondary to where if you're just constantly, hey, you have DJ Reed, you have Taron Arnold, and you have Ennis Rakestraw. Those are your three guys there playing outside. Those are your dudes. And then you have Amik and Avonte Maddox working in the nickel there. So maybe that's it. I don't know. That's the only thing I can kind of come across to where maybe they just want to get more consistency in those positions. Because last year, dude, how much movement the last 2 years has there been in those positions? Feels like there's been a ton of movement. And maybe that's something that Calvin noticed because you got to remember, this is Calvin Shepard's defense now. He's the one stepping up, making some of these major decisions with the defense. And maybe that's been something over the last few years that's been a problem. All of the movement, trying guys at different spots. Dude, you heard it on the offensive line with Giovanni Manu to where they're trying him at guard, they're trying him in there. And then what did Dan come out and say? Man, we're just going to keep him at tackle. Like maybe we were wrong for trying him out at all these different spots and putting too much into his head and like trying to have him do a little too much. We need to just focus on one thing. And maybe defensively in the secondary, call a spade. The secondary outside the safeties haven't been the best over the last few years, right? Like they've been one of the lower position groups on your team, especially defensively. So maybe it's something where, hey, just simplify it. Like, hey, we have our dudes in here now. Like, let's just Ennis learn outside corner. That's what he's going to be in the NFL. If that's what they think and they look at him as, let him just fully work on that. Don't even think about nickel. Don't think about any of that. If someone goes down out there, Taron or DJ, you are next man up, and you need to be ready to go and play at a high level. Because if someone goes down and he's your next man up, but he's been working at nickel for half of the year, do you trust him to go out there fully? Probably not. But if he's been out there since day one working that same position and that's his main focus, that's how I kind of look at it a little bit.
Well, it's a position he played in college too. So he is more comfortable there. I understand that. I think to JT Olson's point, and I'm not going here yet, but he said it kind of feels like a wasted second round pick for Ennis. Good depth, but CB4 is not what you use a second round pick on. I want to say he's CB3, outside CB3, but yeah, like he's right though. Like Amik Robertson he's better outside.
Yeah, but
probably play outside. So he's really
maybe
CB4 if you think about
ceiling though. Maybe they feel like Ennis on the outside. Maybe we don't know what's going on in there, but the fact that they did that tells me that at the end of the day.
Yeah, they believe in him to play outside. I think it's hard because you can't even really set like expectations for him because you don't know if he's going to play. So
you haven't seen him too last year. We didn't.
I can't even say like I got to see more out of it. Like I don't know if he'll play. Yeah. I would say within the next 2 years, if you don't have close to any answer to even what he is as a player, it's a bust. I would say this season and then after this
second
season.
Round.
Yeah, 3 years you're not making an impact, you're a bust. It's 3 years.
At least like our second round picks before, like Josh Pascal and Levi O.
He was there.
And you know what they are too. Like Levi last year, he stepped up, right? Like you knew it. And like Josh Pascal in the run game, you're like, oh, this guy's very good in the run game. Pass rush, we can figure that out, but you know what he is about, and he is getting snaps and he, contributing. You need to find a way, a second round draft pick, especially a corner, a way for him to contribute. It is actually shocking if you think about it long term, Jeff, because Amik's deal is up in like a year. Is he going into the last year of his deal? I'll look that up real quick.
He is,
because if you do think about that, like if you don't sign Amik, which I mean that's a guy that's gonna want some money.
Hey, if you had to choose one, this will get you.
I hate this.
You got to choose one: Alex Anzalone or Amik Robertson.
Alex Anzalone. Anzo's like to me.
Really?
I said yes, dude. I said it. We talked about this yesterday, and we said it yesterday. Anzo's one where it's like that's the heart of your defense.
Yeah, answer that question. Amik or Alex Anzalone?
Alex Anzalone, but instantly. I said yesterday. If they don't re-sign Anzo, that's a big issue. Like that's a problem. Jeff. That's your green dot. That's the guy. That's your eyes. That's the heart. That's the voice of your defense. I love Amik too. That's not against Amik, but Anzo is like, dude. That's a big loss if you lose Alex Anzalone, man. That's huge. To me, long term wise, I think it is interesting that they're not putting Ennis at nickel because Amik at the last year of his deal, you don't want to get Branch back at nickel next year. You should do everything this year to train Ennis Rakestraw to be your future nickel because he's on a rookie deal. You can move on from Amik after the end of the year, and you have a guy on a rookie deal, and it's a second round pick that now he's valuable, right? Like if he stays healthy, he's valuable, and he could be your starting nickel in 2026. So that is a little shocking that they're actually not. Now that I think about it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong about that.
I'm paying Anzo so fast, Jeff.
Here's where I'm at. I would go Anzo. I think it's close, though. I think it's really close. And the reason why I would go Anzo is because of this next comment right here. Malik. I think Branch he's more impactful at nickel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So if you lose Amik Robertson and you re-sign Anzalone, you can move Branch to nickel, and then you have to find a safety to play next to Kirby. But I still would love Branch at nickel. I think you need your best playmakers close to the football. You know what I mean? Sometimes.
Okay.
Especially when
I
we have
throw this
Kirby
out
back there. So I would agree with you on that.
Do you think, and they're not going to do it, but maybe it's something they could have done, and the money obviously is an issue. Who currently, I want to see who's available for free agents. Do you think they could, maybe at the end of next year, sign like a safety in free agency, move Brian to nickel, and like this year, like, and then again, I don't want people to take this seriously because they shouldn't do it. They won't do it. But like Justin Simmons, and you get him out there, him and Kirby back there, and then you have Brian Branch at nickel. And when you get out to certain formations and you don't have a nickel and you move Branch back to safety, take Simmons out, but you have those three guys on the field, what, 60% of the game? Do you see what I'm saying here?
It sounds like Madden, but it's nasty.
It does, but maybe not Justin Simmons level. He's just a free agent right now. He's just sitting at home. But I'm just saying, like, another safety. Maybe that was someone you should have drafted, to where if you got a Malachi Starks, that's something you could have done.
Yeah, especially you kind of need that strong safety. That's kind of what Malachi is. But that's why I wasn't opposed to it. Didn't love it, but I can see it. I think going in for next year, if you're not resigning a Meek, I think Brian Branch should be your future nickel. I think he's fine there. He's showing he could play there. I know they want him at safety, but when you have Kirby, who's a ball hawk, keep Brian close to the football, man. He disrupts the run. He's a sure tackler. Lays the boom. Get takeaways. Gets hands on footballs. He's a beast.
I don't hate it. You just don't have another safety right now. If you had one,
you don't.
Like, to me, it's just more logical to where if Ennis was at that position, because you have the personnel, but.
Yeah, that is fair.
It's an interesting conversation at the end of the day, though, because I don't know what's going to happen with Ennis Rakestraw. Like, it's up in the air at the moment right now. I want him to work out. I think he has all the talent to, but it's just such a big question mark after year one. Dan said it too. I don't know. I actually posted the video. Did you see that a couple of days ago on our Twitter? Dan talking about Ennis. Just like, hey, year two is when you really see those jumps in guys. And he was like, I'm confident this guy could take a jump in year two if he's healthy. That was just his problem last year.
He's been working. I'm excited for him. I hope he turns out to be the player Brad Holmes thinks he can be. You know, I'm excited for that. One thing I just can't wrap my head around is why, and I've seen it more and more, why national outlets are so low on the Lions because of their schedule or whatever it is. I keep seeing, every time I look at my phone and I'm checking social media, looking at things we could talk about, I keep seeing A, Lions 9-8, B, Lions last in the division, C, Lions 10-7, D, can the Lions hit the over-under 10.5? Like,
feels disrespectful.
It feels really disrespectful. And I want two things can be true. Booner, the schedule is it's difficult. Obviously you have a top 3 schedule. Also, the Lions are a really good team. The Lions have a shit ton of talent. The Lions over the last 2 years have won a lot of games. The Lions over the last 2 years have won their division. I'm not really sure what has been shown to suggest the Lions will regress other than the coordinators. But it's not like people are out here throwing their pitchforks like this. I think they'll be bad because of John Morton and Kelvin Shepard. They're just throwing it out there like they're going to regress. And they don't even have a fucking reason for it. So if it's not the coordinators, Boone, even then it's like really 9-8 because of coordinators. Like, I could see, my whole thing is, maybe they could shave a couple wins off, but 9-8 would be insane. That would be like a meltdown insane. But that's all they got, Boone, because they don't have anything else. They don't have anything else.
You know what? And I got to bring it back, Jeff. I was thinking about it today. And you know who actually texted me about it?
Who?
John the Dog Macaroon texted me. And he brought up a good point. It's about time it gets brought back. The Booner Path.
Oh, hold on.
The Booner Path is back. And it's not just, and you know what? This isn't like a Lions fans. Hey, you're on the, like Jeff, when it came to fruition, the Booner path was between Lions fans. It was me versus Lions fans who hated who were saying the Lions can't go to the NFC Championship. They can't win a Super Bowl. And what did I do, Jeff? Because you were one of those fans. I said, no, it's not can they will. They will go to an NFC Championship game. And what did they do? They did it, Jeff Iafrate. They went to the NFC Championship game, and they put on a show and then ended up losing. At the end of the day, there is a new Booner Pat that's going to be here this year in 2025. Shout out to Doc for texting me today and saying, hey, Booner, it needs to come back. Jeff, national media has disrespected the Detroit Lions for way too long. They hopped on the bandwagon for a year or two, and all of a sudden, the first chance that they have to hop off, they do it. They said, all right, we're done with the Detroit Lions. They're going to go 9-8, 8 wins, 9 wins. They last in their division. Stay off the bandwagon. You're not allowed back on the bandwagon. When the Detroit Lions are in the Super Bowl this year, I don't want to hear all of these sappy stories. I don't want to hear you, all these little side comments and things, all the Lions. No, stay off of it. The Booner path inside of the Detroit Lions fan base, we will ride it all the way to the Super Bowl, Jeff Iafrate. And wherever the Super Bowl is this year, the path will be written, and we'll figure it out. And we will win a Lombardi Trophy and be on Woodward Avenue next February. And we can look at national media finally, Jeff, because you know what? We're finally the underdogs again. And that's when the Detroit Lions have always been at their best the first couple of years under Dan Campbell. The year they go to the NFC Championship game, yeah, people were talking about them. No one would consider them Super Bowl contenders. We're back to that now. This team is hungry again. Do you think that they hear this stuff? They hear this stuff in the building. They know people are saying they're going to go 9-8.
Oh, they see it.
They see it. And this is the Lions team 2 years ago that saw all those things, and those guys made comments. Hey, in the cafeteria, we see the TVs. Don't worry, we know. Oh, this was the first primetime game versus the Packers. This is the first time we ever get to do the starting lineup thing. I've never got to do that before. They're right back to where they were 2 years ago with national media trying to say, hey, this Lions team's not all that. That's when I love them the most, Jeff Iafrate. I love it when the back's up against the wall. The Booner path starts from the dead last. We start at the back, and we work our way to the front, and we end up winning the whole thing at the end. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint, Jeff Iafrate. The Booner path is back. We're going to be better than ever, and we're going to go win a Super Bowl. I can't wait to be on Woodward in February, the third week of February, with the fans. Everyone in our chat will be there. We'll be there, and I can't wait potentially to kiss the Lombardi Trophy. That would be the best thing ever to end the Booner path. Shout out that, though. The Booner path is officially back.
I love
Should have wore the shirt today.
Honestly, I think it's a perfect time to bring it back, Boone. I think Lions faithful, they know what it is. They know They see the disrespect. They do. And even this, like JT Olson, friend of the show here, he's a Bucs fan, so he's always going to jab at the Lions. But he said there's a real pathway to regression. New unproven coordinators, potential O-line regression, downgraded at cornerback, still no pass rush. Lions being a playoff team isn't a lock.
Whoa. O-line regression after they just drafted offensive linemen and they read up. Downgrade at CB when they got better CBs in the room. Or Carry-on's going to be year 2. You got basically a similar player to DJ Reed and Carlton.
It's not a drastic drop-off.
What are we talking about here? Still no pass rush. Aiden Hutchinson will be back. He wasn't there in the playoffs. You're adding more than you had last year. And you were 15-2 last year, and you're only adding more. The only conversation is the coordinators, but you still have the same players, if not better players in that building.
Coordinators. How's Liam Cohen doing, JT? Huh? Oh yeah. Playoffs for you ain't a lock either, I guess. We gotta see that new OC. We gotta see that new OC. Are you gonna go 3 for 3? Dave Canal, Liam Cohen. I don't even know the hell. I don't know
the odds are not in your favor, JT. It's tough to go 3 for 3 with those. Odds are not in your favor.
Now, the only thing I'll say with the O-line, I know people, because I see Cody said O-line. He said O-line coordinators possibly. The other points are not valid. The O-line thing, it's like, I get it because you got to see Tate Ratledge play. I get it. We don't know.
Yeah.
But I got faith that he's a dude, man. He's a dude. You've seen him in college. He's a good player. He's a good player. He's a second-round pick, which we just got done talking about a second-round pick who hasn't really paid out. But Tate Ratledge was one of the best guards coming out.
Yep.
He's going to be right away better than Graham. I'm telling you. At least
even then, Jeff, you have Christian Mahogany too, and Graham. So it's so one of these guys are going to hit.
And Miles Frazier. You
have a pretty good chance that someone's going to end up hitting.
And you still have the best tackle. Sorry, Bucs fan JT Olsen, Tristan Wirfs, very, very good. Best tackle in the league. And you also have in my opinion, if not the best, one of the best centers in the league, in Frank Ragnow. So, obviously,
and the best O-line coach, second best.
Second best.
Want to argue?
Yes, Stoutland U. I always bring up the Stoutland U.
You got to respect, right? Respect the game.
But Taylor Decker is going to be healthy. He's fine. He's not. I'm not going to sit here and pound the table. Decker's one of the best, but he's fine. He's a top 15 tackle. He's fine. But yeah, I don't see like regression. I just don't. I don't see regression means they get worse. Like last year, dude, we saw they're going to be better than last year. Last year was there was times where that
was tough, man.
Yeah, O-line in the run game, protecting Goff, like I don't think they're as bad. They'll be better than last year. No way. So I don't see the regression. The only thing I think is fair is coordinators, which and I get it. Trust me, I've been making the point all offseason, but that's really it. To me.
Yeah, but Jeff,
really in the defense, obviously. But they have a lot of talent on defense. Anyway.
The only argument with the coordinators, and I said this yesterday, and I fully believe this, is the coordinators, like, the talent will only get you so far. And I think it's, with this Lions team, the talent you have, and this is where the disrespect to me comes with the national media saying 9 wins, 8 wins, last in the division. With the talent alone, you're going to win 10 games. I don't care what your schedule looks like.
Yeah.
The talent alone, you could go in there and be the OC and the DC. And I'm sure we could, for a whole offseason, come together with a plan. And if we had the good staff, we could put it together with the talent and be like, hey, let's give the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs and somehow get it to Amon-Ra every other play. And we will probably win 10 games. That talent is that good on this football team. It's probably the most talented, if not the second most talented team in the entire NFL. Now, the only question with the coordinators, I said it yesterday, it's the playoffs. Are you ready to go in the playoffs? Can you win a Super Bowl? Are you going to win those games in the Super Bowl? When push comes to shove down the stretch and play calling, and we saw it last year, the play calling in the Commanders game, defensively, having the correct schemes, Calvin Shepard, to win playoff games and contain quarterbacks. That's when it comes down to the coordinators, in my opinion. We saw the Eagles lose their coordinators a couple of years ago. They had all the talent in the world, and they still win 12 games. And that's where it's like, okay, if you have the talent, and Dan says it all the time. I said this to you a couple weeks back, Jeff. Dan said it in the league meetings. Listen, if we still have the players, we're still going to win. It's the players that are on the field doing the work. If you have a Jahmyr Gibbs, a Sam Laporta, a Panay Sewell, Jared Goff, Frank, Aiden Hutchinson, Anzo, Brian Branch, Kirby.
Regular season wins. You'll make the playoffs.
They are going to make plays. You could draw up the wrong plays. They're going to make plays at the end of the day. Those are the playmakers. So the regression to me, it's like I think it's a little irrelevant, and it's kind of a cop out of, hey, what team this year is going to regress? Let's talk about the Lions. When the last 2 years, all we did was prop them up, and now we're just going to spit them out and step on them and say, they're the bad team this year. I think it's ridiculous, man.
The only thing,
you know what? I love it too. I love it out of them.
Yeah, it's an interesting storyline. The only thing you could bring up, and I'm with you 110%. The reason why I bring up the coordinators is mostly for the postseason. It's big picture. It's not regular season wins. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to find a way to win 10 plus games just based on the talent. And I don't think Kelvin and John are that bad to where they'll win 8-9 games.
And listen, Jeff, the 2 coordinators you just had, you couldn't win in the playoffs with them. Right,
it's hard. I mean, the playoffs, that's when it comes down to coaching. It comes down to obviously quarterbacks to win Super Bowls. Like, there's a lot of things, your defense. But regular season games, they have enough. The only way I can see it, I'm like picturing it, if they go 9-8, I want to say injuries, but they still rattled off wins with injuries. It would have to be like Goff going down.
Dude, they lost half of their team and won 15. I don't care what your schedule is.
And they're not going to win 15, but they'll win. I mean,
15
you're telling
is
me if they have some
insane.
injuries, they can't win 10, 11. Yeah. I mean,
Come
it
on,
just
man.
it depends who goes down.
I would love to know
who
the
goes
8 losses. And the people who have them going 9-8, or like the guy, the Vikings fan who had them go.
That many losses, Boone. That's you have a losing record in the division. You're losing to playoff teams. Obviously, we already went through that, but you're losing. I mean, look at this. You're going to rattle off Steelers, Giants. Who do they play? Steelers, Giants. They play Dallas. I guess a little better than those teams, but they have some cakewalks on the schedule.
I don't see I would love for someone to sit down and be like, all right, show me the 8 losses, please. Because it's the same thing too. It's like, hey, if you think if there are some of these teams where they slip up to, then I think, and this is the argument I had with you and Klotz, and I will believe this until the day I die, until going into this year. You play 6 very elite teams on the road. You really think they're going to go 0-6 or 1-5 versus those teams? There is zero chance that a Dan Campbell led team and the talent they have don't somehow win maybe a Ravens or a Bengals or Commanders or an Eagles game. They're not going 0-4 in those games. That's why I think people are just like in such a world of like, dude, like, do you know do you understand the game of football? Or do you just go off the front cover, look at a book and see the front cover and go, oh, that's a tough schedule, man? No, yeah, there's so much more to it.
Hey, you sent me this. Warren Sharp made this.
This is
so.
Oh my gosh!
I took a peek at it, and when you look at this, so basically what you're looking at is it's net. It's NFL. It's net rest. It's like rest. It's rest within what the amount of days that teams have of rest essentially for the season. And
this is crazy.
Detroit leads all teams in net rest edge.
Plus 13.
So I don't know if this is because it's probably, I don't know if this, I wouldn't say it's because of the injuries, but it definitely.
No, I think, can you just pull up the thread and I'll have you scroll through it. I just want to show a couple tweets. There's like 2 or 3 tweets in the thread. And for people that are watching, Warren Sharp put out a thread today that was showing, and the point of this thread, Jeff, too, just to give you a kind of a little outside look on it. He brought up the NFL, and if people don't know this, the NFL doesn't really control who teams play each year. It is a rotating factor, and if people don't know, you play 2 different divisions every year, and then you rotate in the other divisions. And if you were a first place team the year before, you play the first place teams the next year. Or if you're a second place team, you play the second place team, and so on and so forth. So the NFL is in a system right now. They don't control who teams play. Like, it is already set up. But what the NFL does do that Warren Sharp brought up is the NFL controls when teams play and if it can negatively affect them or positively affect them. And maybe this is just me being a little bit, hey, the NFL helped out the Detroit Lions here. I think the NFL knows the product that the Lions are. They want to make sure the Lions are in the playoffs. And I know how crazy this sounds, but they want to make sure they're playing in big games, continuing to win. And they said that they have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL. Let's make sure in the scheduling that we give them some more. Because remember last year, that rest, what are the chances, boys, that after 20 plus guys on IR last year, that you get the most rest the next year? Like, come on. Like, you don't think the NFL looked at that and went, all right, we got to help the Lions out a little bit because they got destroyed last year and they have a tougher schedule. So, all right, I'll have you scroll through this. So Warren Sharp just said, did you know there are 101 games played this year where a team has a rest advantage? 101 games with the rest advantage. That's most ever in the NFL history. And then the next one right here, the Detroit Lions, Jeff, play 5 opponents coming off of Monday Night Football on a short week. And that is the most ever in NFL history. That's nuts.
Advantage. That's an advantage.
It's huge. 5 teams. And then you could scroll slowly. I want to see there's specific tweets that I have. I should have just screenshotted them. There's a couple that have the Lions in there. You can scroll past this one. If you see Lions in the tweet. Yes, here it is. So in 2025, the largest net rest edge is plus 13 days for the Lions. Number 5 largest net rest in the last 25 years.
The Raiders just got screwed.
That's brutal. And then you can keep scrolling here. It just whenever you see Lions in a tweet, you could stop because typically a lot of the times he's talking about the Detroit Lions.
Right here.
All right. So he said this year the Lions play. All right. Yeah, this is another one. Lions play 8 games with more rest than their opponents. That's crazy itself. 1 game with less rest than their opponent. So there's only 1 game they're at a disadvantage. And then the Raiders obviously are like the complete opposite and an absolute torture chamber there. But 8 games, Jeff, with more rest than their opponent.
I mean, look at yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you keep going, there's just a couple Lions stats, and it's just like, dude, wow.
Look at the Packers play the most
the NFC North
road games in the NFL this week. Their division rival Lions have a massive edge in many respects. Look at the net rest that the NFL gave the NFC North. Plus 13 for the Lions, huge gap. And then the Green Bay Packers, Minnesota, Chicago all have a negative net rest. So what this means is Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago play teams in a shorter window.
Yes. Throughout the whole season.
They have to play a game in a shorter amount of time than the Lions do by a lot. Yep. Like the Lions have longer weeks before they play. Because teams are coming off compared to their opponents, because teams are coming off short weeks.
Yep.
If I'm understanding that correctly.
Yep.
But here you go again. Here you can break this down.
Lions play 8 games with the rest edge. No team in history has played more than 6 until now. That itself is nuts. That no team has ever played more than 6 teams with the rest edge, and the Lions are getting 8 this year. Nearly half of their games have a rest edge. They play just 1. Oh, this is what it said earlier. Yeah. Okay, this is the same thing. He just put the same tweet differently.
It's a huge advantage in the NFC North. I mean, I didn't know I didn't know. Yeah, look at.
Yeah.
First team in NFL history to play 5 opponents off Monday Night Football. And this year the Lions face a 3rd toughest schedule of opponents, and the number 1 toughest road opponents.
That's tough. That's brutal.
Plus 6 outdoor games through week 11, and they played just one game outdoors through week 15 last year. They played just 1 game. Yeah. The NFL can't help who Detroit plays, but the NFL can help the Lions or help give the Lions rest along the way.
Yeah. I think it's just that I saw that today. It came across my desk, and I didn't realize. I knew there was that rest. I saw a tweet the other day about the rest and how the Lions got a little lucky. But then I came across that it was like the best ever in NFL history. So when it comes to like those players we talked about yesterday, like the Marcus Davenports, where you're like, hey, we really need to make sure he's the longevity of him. Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah, congrats, Marcus. You should be healthy. But guys that just last year just constantly getting beat up. The injuries, like a lot of those injuries too, were injuries where it's like, man, it's just a long season. And like Aleem, his knee, it was just such a freak thing with his knee where it's like, hey, maybe that doesn't happen if he is getting some rest. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of some things.
Yeah, I mean, any advantage you can have when it comes to the end, because again, it's such a disadvantage for example, you play a Thursday night game.
Yep.
You play that short week, but then you get the long week the next week. They try and reward it. But when you play a short week, for example, the Lions play teams that will play a team on Sunday that played on Monday. They have a day of it. They have a day advantage over that team. And you have to think too, they play on Monday. And if they're on the road, they have to fly back. Like it's really like 2 days, if you think about it. Them getting back from wherever they were playing. Yep. And the Lions are already chilling, ready to play that Sunday. So it is an advantage. I don't know what it was last year. I saw Judson said, I would love to know what our net rest was in 2024, probably -6. Yeah, it
might have been less than that, to be honest, if it was like.
Yeah, because you look at the NFC North, too, comparatively, it's completely different. So, yep. Again, is this stuff, it's analytics, it's, data, it's all this data, people look into it, like, who cares? No, it does matter.
Yep.
Getting extra rest does matter. Especially for a team that had as many injuries as the Lions. It does.
And when you look at the teams, too, I think it's interesting some of the teams that you, like, get that off of. Like, going into week 2, you get a normal rest week. The Bears are coming off Monday Night Football. And I do think it's a significant, like, Dan's talked about it before, coming off Monday Night Football and having to turn around quicker. It's tough on guys' bodies. Like, your whole game week is completely different. Now Tuesday's your off day. Wednesday, it's like, let's do walkthroughs, and like your chance, especially when you have to turn around right to Saturday again. That's tough. Or even a team, the biggest one is the Lions play multiple Thursday night games. A team that's playing on Sunday, and say you play the opposite Thursday, and you kind of are, or say you play. I don't know if we play back-to-back Thursdays. I'm trying to see here too. Like the Bears is one. I mean, Jeff, look at some of the teams that we have The Bengals, they're coming off a Monday Night Football game. So the Bengals game, we have an advantage. The big one, the Chiefs coming off Monday Night Football. You get an advantage there. The Eagles coming off Monday Night Football. The Rams, Jeff. The Lions have, it says here, the Lions have basically a mini bye. So I think it's like a 10 days off going into that Rams game. Think about if there's injuries, things like that. And then the final one of the season, it's the same thing with the Lions. You have 3 more days off than the Chicago Bears. Like, that's significant. The Vikings game, the week 9 Vikings game, you're coming off your bye as well. Like, I think you have a couple mini buys in there, which should help them out a lot. And if you're running into teams who are playing, you know, Sunday from Sunday to Thursday or Monday night to Sunday.
You know what? It'll help this player, who's apparently you tweeted this out. I want to bring this up before we move on, because we're going to get to Tate Ratledge. I do want to have a conversation about him. We tweeted this out today. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's 3rd in the Offensive Player of the Year award, preseason rankings. He's in front of Justin Jefferson, Derrick Henry, who had damn near 2K last year, and he was in the race. He's right behind Ja'Marr Chase, and of course Saquon leads it again because he won it last year. But here's the thing you have to look at, because it's easy to say that he won't win Offensive Player of the Year. It's hard because you have Dave Montgomery, which I don't think is a bad argument. I think that, you know, it's hard. If he wins it with a split backfield, I would say that's insane. Incredible, like all credit to him. But are we really sure that Saquon, and I love Saquon, back-to-back Offensive Player of the Years with a guy with that many miles in back-to-back years? I just don't see it. And I'm not rooting for an injury, but I think for Saquon, he was healthy. He played incredible. I think he's going to have a really good year this year. But there's no way he wins back-to-back Offensive Player of the Years. There's no way. So, in my opinion, you're really looking at Jahmyr, and who else?
I think it's just those 4 guys at the bottom. I don't see I'm with you, actually. I didn't even think about that, Jeff.
Like back-to-back?
Has there ever been a back-to-back Offensive Player of the Year winner? I don't know if there has been. As
a running back? I'd have to look.
I don't even think is there anything. Let me look. So Saquon, Christian, Justin. I don't think there's ever been a back-to-back. Marshall Faulk, 2000, 2001, or 1999, 2000, 2001. He won 3 straight. That's the last back-to-back that I'm seeing here. Earl Campbell in the late 70s. That's it. Earl Campbell and Marshall Faulk. That's it. Those 2 guys. I don't think Saquon does it. I don't. And if I was going to put money on the player to do it, I would say Jahmyr. And people could argue, hey, well, they have Amon-Ra, James. Look who the Eagles had last year. You know what I mean? They were loaded. Look how many touchdowns Jalen Hurts had. They were absolutely loaded. My pick would be Jahmyr. And if I had to pick a second player, if I'm being honest here, I would probably go Ja'Marr Chase. I think it's going to end up being between those 2.
Yeah, I don't think and I think Derek will probably just be in the race, but I would probably I don't hate that, because if Jahmyr Gibbs goes out this year and gets double-digit touchdowns, 1,500 rushing yards, and 500, he gets 2,000 yards, scrimmage yards.
Yeah.
Double-digit touchdowns. I mean, I would argue that with the carries he'll get, it's actually more impressive. I don't know how voters will look at that. But I don't think Saquon, like you said, it's rare that the same running back will get it back-to-back years. It hasn't happened in a while. So, I mean, if there's a player that can do it, it's probably Saquon. But just based on how the NFL has kind of went, it's not going to be. So I think Jahmyr Gibbs will be in the race. I would probably still lean Ja'Marr because that defense is so bad. I think he's going to get fed again. But I can't imagine. I mean, he's on the short list of guys I think can actually win it. So I think this is like at plus 1,200. That's pretty good.
Great value.
Yeah, because I think he'll be above Justin Jefferson with JJ. I don't think it's gonna. No, I don't. I think this year he'll have his yards. He'll have 1,300, 14, whatever it is. It won't be enough to win Offensive Player of the Year though. No, I think it's going to be Ja'Marr, Jahmyr, and maybe Derek. And Saquon will be in the race, but I don't think he wins it. So to win it, it'll probably be between those 2, in my opinion.
I'm interested to see.
I don't hate it if you say Gibbs.
a year 3 with Gibbs too. Now, I mean, he's just going to get better. He knows now. Like you got to see the end of last year. I know without Demont, but
yeah, no,
I don't see a world where he's just not going to get 2,000 plus this year.
Honestly, Puka Nacua, I think he's a sneaky one.
What is he? I wonder what he is. That'd be. You know who actually was the last guy that I cut off this list here when I made this graphic?
Who?
Can you take a guess? I'll tell you, he's a wide receiver.
CeeDee Lamb?
No. I'll give you a couple guesses here.
Tyreek Hill?
The chat, without looking it up, if you want to look it up.
Tyreek Hill.
Put it in. Not Tyreek.
Damn.
This is an interesting one. It's not Puka either.
Not Puka, Tyreek, or CD? I don't know.
Ship God said Devontae Adams, not Devontae Adams. Should I say or shall I let the chat
say
go?
it. I don't know.
ETN. I think ETN might have looked. Nico Collins. Nico Collins was next on the list. How crazy is that? I don't think anyone would have ever guessed Nico Collins, dude. I guess ETN did. Shout out ETN if he really got that. That's a great pull from him. I would have never guessed Nico Collins.
Wow. I mean,
T said George Pickens. What a pick. That's a funny one.
Yeah, I didn't yeah,
Shout
I mean, he had
for that.
1,012 games, so he probably would have ended with like 1,600 or something. 15.
Let me go see the rest because I'm actually interested to see after Nico. Yeah, it's Justin Jefferson and then Nico. And then under Nico is Puka, CeeDee Lamb, Bijan, Christian McCaffrey, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Tyreek Hill.
They think Tyreek's just cooked at this point or something.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors is under Amon-Ra, Brian Thomas, Drake London, and then Lamar, AJ. Yeah, so I don't know. Amon-Ra is actually higher than I would think. Plus 3,000. I didn't think he would be there.
Yeah,
that might be like the highest duo in the NFL.
Yeah, it's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Bengals, no running back. Ravens don't have a receiver that high.
Damn.
Yeah, I think that's the highest. That's the highest duo in the NFL. Is the Detroit Lions with Amon-Ra and Jahmyr. And people think that they're going to win 9 games with those two guys.
What about MVP? Where's Goff on MVP? Is he not? Oh, I'm curious now that we're on this conversation because we brought up Hutch as leading defensive player of the year. Jahmyr's top and offensive player of the year. He's top 3. Where's Jared Goff? MVP.
10th. He's 10th.
Dang.
There goes Lamar Jackson, 1. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow are all tied.
Okay, that's fair.
At plus 600. Jaden Daniels, plus 850. Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud. This one's shocking to me. Brock Purdy, and then Jared Goff.
Well, are they the same odds, Brock and him?
Brock has plus 2,500. Jared Goff is plus 3,100. Actually, it's actually a big difference. Brock Purdy has the same odds as CJ Stroud.
Okay, I don't mind Stroud. Brock.
Caleb Williams is higher than Jordan Love on this list. And Stafford and Dak. Has Stafford ever been in the MVP conversation? I feel like I've never actually heard in a season. Maybe I have.
It was just really the one year they won the Super Bowl, but it wasn't. I don't think he was in like the race. Like he was probably top 5, but he wasn't in the finalists. I don't think I've
ever seen Matthew Stafford as like an MVP finalist. And he always puts numbers up.
Malik said Drake May, the Patriots.
Yeah. I text. What did I text you yesterday or 2 days ago?
You
what
like
did I
the
say?
Patriots this year. Hit that
I
over.
said go look at the Patriots schedule. I text you guys their whole schedule and the teams they can win. I would take the over. I also too. Did you see the 49ers schedule at all?
Is it a cakewalk?
The best team they play is obviously the Rams twice. Outside of that, the best team they play is the Houston Texans.
Do you think the 49ers people are sleeping on them a little bit?
Yes. What did I say a month ago, Jeff? I said they're going to be like last year's Bills, where everyone was like, hey, they're in a rebuild. Like they had to tear it down to build it back up. But realistically, remember when the Bills tore it down, they knew in the back of their heads, like, hey, we still have our core players, but we also have some young guys that are ready to step up. And free agency, we made some moves that people aren't giving enough credit to. I think they're going to be last year's Bills. I've been saying that for a couple months now. I think the 49ers are just
I don't hate that
shock.
take. I think the 49ers are going to be back. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl, but I think they'll be still a threat in the NFC.
They'll be in the playoffs.
People are forgetting about them because the Commanders popped up, the Rams won the division, but 49ers are going to be probably
I can't remember
10-11 win team.
When we were at the combine, I was talking to someone about, I cannot remember who it was, but that conversation came up, and it was essentially just they were like, think about they named a couple examples, and they were like, think about, and then the one that really stood out to me was the Bills, where they were like, look what the Bills did, and whoever it was, I can't remember, was like, what was everyone saying about the Bills? They were cooked. They let go of every single defensive player. All of their vets got let go. And what did they do? Like, it was the right moves, though, at the end of the day. They were confident. They still had their guys. And the 49ers, like, their core is still there. They still have dudes, as much as people don't want to admit. And they have Kyle Shanahan.
Which is, he's a great coach. So,
and who's their DC?
Robert Saleh. He's back.
Yep.
And they drafted your boy, Michael Williams.
Yeah. So I think the 49ers are going to be good this year. I would take their over and wins as well. And they'll probably make the playoffs. And I don't know, they're not going to win a Super Bowl, but they're going to make some noise for sure.
Let's get to the Tate Ratledge conversation because we do rookie spotlight. We've already done it on Tyleek, and we're gonna go round by round once a week and kind of break out a new player. I want to talk about Tate. It ties back. People were talking about the offensive line earlier regressing, and I want to ask you, the chat, what's a fair year one? What's a fair expectation for Tate Ratledge? Obviously, you can't put up numbers, but what does it have to look like for you to be fulfilled? To be okay with him being the future? What do you have to see? And the more I thought about it, because again, there's no stats for offensive linemen. So unless it's sacks given up, pressures given up, all that stuff obviously matters. But for me, my how I'm going to evaluate him in his rookie year, I think the biggest thing, first thing, starting. I got to see him start. That's what's going to matter, because if he starts, then I'm like, oh, okay. So they think he's better than Graham. Check. The next thing is I don't want to see week in and week out, or at least through stretches of the season, where Tate Ratledge is a liability. I don't want to have to look too much at Tate Ratledge. That's going to be now, will there be, like Malik just put, will there be welcome to the NFL moments where he gets ran over one player? Yeah, like that
happens to everyone. The best too.
Yeah, like I'm not going to, fault the guy for going up against Chris Jones, or going up against Jalen Carter and all these guys and getting, losing. I'm not going to say that. But I don't want to have to, we're going to be doing these watch parties. I don't want to have to look at the screen while we're doing them and go, oh, Tate Ratledge got beat again. That's where I'm at with Tate, is like, if he's just solid and steady with a couple slip-ups, then I think I'm cool with it. Then you can look at, well, year two, you already got a year under him. Like if Mahogany as a 6th-round pick can step in last year and be as good as he is, then I think Tate Ratledge as a 2nd-round pick, you should expect him to be very solid his rookie year. And I know we had a college scout on. He talked about his evaluation of Tate. He's a former offensive lineman, so he gave us his evaluation, which was, I loved it. But he said he's going to be a guy that you don't have to really think of too much. He's just, he's not going to say his name a lot, which is what you want. So that would probably be my expectation for him, Boone. I don't want to have to worry about him week in and week out, and I want to see the man start day one.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Honestly, I think that's the perfect evaluation and like expectation for Tate Ratledge. Is I'm interested to see the battle in training camp when it comes to Graham and Miles and Christian Mahogany, because there's going to be a battle there. And the one thing I love about that battle, we talk about it a lot, is like the best man's going to win. That's why I like having depth at positions, especially when it comes to starting. And it's like, best man's going to come out of that, and you're going to know he's ready. And I think Tate's going to be one of the two guards that come out and win that battle. And I'll say this on this offensive line, Jeff, and then I don't know if you agree with this. There's an expectation, in my opinion, to where This is a top 3. And at the best, this is the best offensive line in the NFL. Maybe you can argue outside the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think for him stepping in, there's an expectation that he has to be good, right? Like, I don't think there's a room for a guy to come in and, hey, he's going to go through growing pains. It's going to be okay. Year 2, he'll be better. No, like, this is a Super Bowl year, so he needs to be good right away. So for me, yes, I'm with you and Malik. Like, there are going to be a couple spots throughout the first maybe couple weeks, and maybe even in a big spot throughout the year where you see a highlight and you're like, oh, that's a tough one by Tate Ratledge. That's going to happen. But do you remember when Christian Mahogany, that first game he played, I think it might have been Chicago. I can't remember the exact game. But after everyone was watching his film, and even during the game, they were pulling highlights of him and spotlighting him like, hey, look at what Christian Mahogany, a 6th-round pick, is doing right now. Like, he is dominating out there. I mean, you had an argument like, did he really like, it felt like in that moment for a 6th-round pick, you're like, oh, this guy's fitting right into your offensive line, and you're not having issues. There was highlights of him just pass block, dominating good defensive linemen, and then in the run game, making the biggest holes, and you're like, okay, he's fitting right into the best offensive line in the NFL. That's all Tate needs to do. Like, you can't have it. You can't be here and here and then here and then here. You have to be here all year if you're going to start. And I understand you're a rookie and you might have a couple drops. It has to be consistently, in my opinion, at a high level, because you're stepping into one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. So that's I think he can do it. Like, I wouldn't say I would give him that expectation, or I would say, hey, this is what I think he needs to do, if I didn't think he could, because I think he can do that.
Yeah,
I would consistently at a high level, in my opinion.
Well, when you look at Tate, the thing he has an advantage for him because he played in the SEC, with Georgia. He faced SEC defensive linemen, which are NFL players. I mean, a lot of those guys went to the NFL, and they go every year. So for him, he has experience facing very, very talented guys. And honestly, he went up against Jalen Walker, Michael Williams in practice. So he already has a lot of that experience facing dynamic athletes, great players, and he's been there for a couple of years. So he's seen some of these Georgia defensive linemen. So he has that already in his repertoire. He's faced those guys. So I think it is an advantage. It's kind of like the Miles Frazier thing, which we'll get to him eventually, but it's, these guys play in the SEC. It's just it's a different. I mean, I don't think they played. I don't know if they played Tennessee, but James Pierce. I don't even know if they played Tennessee. But they played him at some point. So I think it matters, and I think it's an advantage for him. So I agree with you. You want to see him at kind of a steady level all year, because say what you want about Graham. Maybe Graham's not the most talented guy, but you know what you're getting out of Graham. You know what I mean? You kind of know what he is. That's what you want to see out of Tate. You just want to know, like, hey, when Tate's out there, I don't want to say his name a lot. I don't have to worry about him.
The problem you run into, Jeff, and then I think this is a lot of fear from Lions fans and just people who are talking about the regression of the O-line, is you lose Kevin Zeitler, and he was playing at a very high level. You saw what Graham was in the left guard last year. He wasn't good at the end of the day. And I'm sure he knows. Like, everyone knows it. He wasn't the best. He was like outside the top 100 ranked in guards in the NFL and PFF, in every category, it felt like. So, like, you just don't want to have to run back that with him and then be like, hey, now we're going to have a regression at right guard with the Kevin Zeitler thing. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to keep that left guard the way it is and regression at the right guard. Then your offensive line did actually regress and it got worse. I think I'm not going to say Tate's going to step in and be Kevin Zeitler, but you need someone to get as close as that as you can on that right side of the ball. And then you need whoever's on the left, whether it's Miles, whether it's Christian or Graham, you need to be better than Graham was last year. So that's where you don't have room, in my opinion, for rookies to develop. It's either you're ready or you're not. And if you're ready to go, there's an expectation at the end of the day for Tate Ratledge. And I'm sure he knows that too. And what better place for him to come in and learn right away, Jeff, than between Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow, and Hank Fraley teaching him. That's the perfect situation in the NFL. The perfect for a rookie. So he's going to be just fine.
Hey, Phil, appreciate it. Earlier
Shout
became
out,
a
Phil,
Crunch Time member, man. William, appreciate the $2. He says, hey, Tigers are doing good today, boys. Let's go.
I did just see someone in the chat put that the Tigers or Javi just hit a home run. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's true.
No, it probably is true if they're saying.
Let me pull it up.
That's incredible.
Yeah, Javi did. Javi hit one. Zach McKinstry hit one, and Riley Green hit one.
Cody said, I was thinking the other day, they were saying Ratledge was playing center to replace Ragnow. But what if it was to replace Glasgow? He is our backup center.
It might be that, actually.
I think Tate. I think he played tackle in high school, played guard in the NFL, or excuse me, in college. I think he plays guard in the NFL. I don't think he plays center. He's so big, dude. He's like 6'6".
No,
you know,
I don't think
6'7".
full-time center, but I think what he's saying, and maybe I'm wrong, is he's saying like if Frank got hurt, knock on wood, if he goes down for a game, you move Tate to center and put either Christian or Graham at guard instead of moving Graham. I guess Graham, you trust him though. It's not like he's a bad center.
Graham, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and here's the thing.
Graham, yeah.
And Cody says he was taking snaps at center. We already knew, though, beforehand that Hank was going to try them all at different positions anyway.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't be shocked.
It was crazy that there was a lot of stories. The Doc Texas was like, at first he was like off record, Tate at center, and then it came out and there was all these stories. But then I was like, I texted him right back and said, I think Hank or
they talked about it.
It was Brad. Brad after the day 2. He literally came out and said
Hank
plays him at everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm sure Tate will play tackle. You know what I mean? They'll try him at everything just in case. Like if you have injuries, like you guys got to play out of position. Remember Colby? Colby played tackle.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like he didn't know. Poor guy. I mean, that's just what happens. You have injuries. Guys got to play spots they're not comfortable with. Like I think that's what they're doing with Tate. I wouldn't look too much into the Tate snapping the ball thing. You know what I mean?
The Colby stuff breaks my heart, man.
I wouldn't look too much into that right now. I think Miles Frazier ideally because he's played multiple positions. But even then, it's like those guys are going to try out snapping the ball. But ultimately, I think he'll play guard. That's just kind of where
I agree. I think he's your right guard of the future, in my opinion.
Judson says, given the beginning of our schedule, I'm thinking Graham is at least starting the season. Dan values experience. Maybe Tate or Mahogany get their chance against Cleveland. Would you be shocked by that?
Graham is at least
if Graham starts the year over Tate.
No, I wouldn't be. Oh, over Tate, yeah. I think it would. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if Graham's in for either Mahogany or Tate. I do feel like maybe they move him back to right. I don't know. They do love Graham Glasgow though. They do. I think it's a battle, and I think it's like best man wins. I think they're all right now at the starting line.
Yeah, if Graham is starting, then that would indicate that he beat him out
better.
Yeah. Which at that point it's like, you're cool with that. You know, not cool with it long term, but you're like, if he's the better player right now, then he should play.
Because the thing about Dan Campbell is he's never been a coach to like just give players positions because of who they are or the experience that they've had. It's always been from day one of Dan Campbell. If you're better, you're playing. Best player plays. Yeah, and he's been very vocal about that forever. Look at like Brian Branch playing his rookie year. Lots of guys played instantly in their rookie years because of that. And when there was, other guys in their positions, and they just, remember the Brian Branch thing with CJ Gardner-Johnson? You sign CJ Gardner-Johnson, and what happens? Brian Branch comes in and takes a lot of snaps from him. And obviously they figured it out with safety and nickel and all of that. But was it Brian Branch out, or was it CJ that was playing nickel and then they had to move him back?
He was.
Yeah, okay, so it was him. Yeah, so, that's a perfect example of they don't care who you are, how many years you've played in the NFL. If someone else is better, they're playing.
Hey, I want to show this. I can't believe this is – and by the way, someone mentioned
crazy.
AI. I saw NFL put this out. The NFL put this out. AI predicts the 2025-2026 playoff seedings. AI. You want to guess where the Lions are, chat?
Everyone drop. What seed?
What seed?
It's 1 through 7. What seed?
What seed are the Lions? Take a guess. AI predicting it. Oh, old reliable AI. Where are the Lions at in the seedings, the NFC seedings? Because the show's been about disrespect. And this ties right into that conversation. All right. We got beef with everyone, even AI. All right. Even you, AI. And I see it already coming in here. All right. I see Scotty 6, Vincent 6, Coach Walk 5, Malik 6, 2 seed from Xavier, U of M Dad 4, 5, first. But Anakin said not even in there. AI predicts they're not in there.
Man.
Fuck you, AI. I mean, look at this.
Crazy.
Hey, look at this. So the NFC seedings, this is how AI predict it. All right. So you have the first seed, the Washington Commanders, the 2 seed, the Green Bay Packers, the 3 seed, the Arizona Cardinals,
who was 9-8 last year.
9-8 last year, which is kind of, I mean,
they win their division in this.
Yeah, kind of sneaky.
They won their division.
4 seed, the Falcons win their division
over the Bucs.
Yeah. 5th seed, the Eagles. 6th seed, the Bears. 7th seed, the Rams. And then you go to the AFC, you have the number 1 seed, the Bills. 2, the Chiefs. 3, the Bengals. 4, the Jags. I don't think this is like egregious, to be honest with you.
No, I was trying to say the only team that's not on there is like Houston. I'm looking right now at the last
5. Is that the Ravens? Yeah, the Ravens.
The 4 seed, the Jags winning that.
Chargers, and then Broncos. I don't think the AFC is that bad. I think the NFC is terrible. I think it's terrible. I don't see a world. And hey, JT Olson, Bucks fan in the chat, we can break bread. I don't think the Falcons outmatch the Bucks to win the division.
No.
So we can go with that. We can break bread there. I don't see the Cardinals beating out the 49ers and the Rams. If the Cardinals make the playoffs, it'll be just as a wild card. They're not winning the division. I just can't
winning the division over the Rams and 49ers. It might be one of the craziest stories of all time.
There would have to be like some injury or something. I don't know what would have to. It would be something terrible. And then it happens to where the Packers and the Bears make the playoffs in the NFC North, and the Lions and the Vikings don't.
I don't even know what to say, to be honest, Jeff.
Well, that would be a year we were talking about earlier where it was like 9-8. This would be that type of year. Yeah. Where you're 9-8, Jared Goff like loses his left foot or something and just, just blows his knee out, knock on wood. Something would have to happen to go 9-8. And they miss the fucking playoffs. If they miss the playoffs, you got to put people on. You got to put people on the stand, like coaching players.
Someone has to be held accountable. Yeah, I think that's a fact at that point.
Yeah, I don't know who it would be I don't have context, but someone's getting fired.
And I'm the biggest Dan Campbell fan. And Dan's not going to get fired. The biggest Dan Campbell fan. Shout out. And you know what, too? We never mentioned it. His wife following us on Instagram doesn't follow that many. Followed Crunch Time. Man, shout out Holly. Shout out. But I would definitely have something. I would have something to say to Dan. But I'm holding Dan accountable. Like, unless, again, like you said, there's a big injury. But if everyone's healthy and you just end up going 8-9 or 9-8,
look at Dan.
I think it's like when things go wrong. Remember when they lost the game versus the Commanders? What did Dan do after the game? Stood on the podium and said, "That's all on me. That's not on anyone else but me." And it was the same thing for every loss. And at that point, it's like, as being in the media, to me, if you have that big of a drop off, I think it falls back on the head coach.
Oh, it does. Yeah,
and that's the number one. And I'm not hitting him fired, but it's your fault that everything wasn't in order and everyone wasn't prepared, in my opinion, for this season. Whether maybe you didn't have the personnel or whatever. You have it all. And I have all faith in Dan. That's why I want that to be very clear.
Well, it would be kind of like it'd be Philly all over again. Philly makes the Super Bowl, the Lions make the Super Bowl, but they had success. And then the year after they go, whatever.
What did the fans and media do? They went right at Nick Sirianni. And what did Nick Sirianni do?
And then they got new coordinators.
Yep, makes the moves. And that's the moves that would need to be made if you're 9-8. And again, in the media, we're blaming the head coach. But until he makes that move. And then once he makes that move, okay, now you're on the stand, right?
No, I'm not going to say I think the Bears could sneak in as a 7 seed, 6, 7
maybe
seed.
8. Malik said Booner hates Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell might be people that I've never met in my life. He is number one on the list of my like all time like dudes I love.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, drop your questions in the chat. We'll get to mailbag. But yeah, I can defend Boone on that. You've always said you want to have a beer with Dan Campbell. So
Number one. It's gonna happen too. I want to do a what are those 60 minutes? Is that what the thing where they like sit in like a dark room with lights facing each other, doing an interview? That's what I want to do. Booner and Dan Campbell, and just ask them questions, and then after go to like a bar and have some beers with him.
Have a sit down 60-minute style with Dan Campbell,
and then just hang out with him after that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the guy, he's a dude's dude. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just how it is. So I don't know. Like for me,
what?
Take Ben Johnson. Give me Ben Johnson.
That's your number one?
Well,
there's no way. I don't ever want to hear Ben Johnson again.
I'm maybe not number of all people.
I guess so. Yeah,
I was just looking at like Lions guys. You know what I mean? Like players. I guess would be
all time to me. I think it's just Dan Campbell for me. I think it would be like the best like day of my life. All day hangout.
I would probably be like Cade. Sit down with Cade.
That's fair. I like that.
Chop it up with Cade. If I can go anyone. LeBron. Yeah, we'll do that.
U of M dad said, "You think you could get a Campbell sit down for an hour?" Probably not, but it's a dream. I mean, the business we're in, anything can happen. So we've learned that a lot the last couple of years. So I mean, there's probably one day hopefully we get big enough to where we could do it.
Yeah, like, imagine you reaching out and he's just like, "For you, Boone." Yeah,
got it. The Kool-Aid guy.
Yeah,
good to go.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I thought you would ask sooner. Honestly, I thought you would ask. I've been waiting for this fucking text, dude. Come on, what are we doing here? Xavier says, "I live in Chicago. There's no intelligence here, though it is a great city." Jeez,
Chicago's a nice city. I like Detroit the best, but I like Chicago too.
There's no intelligence here. That's a crazy statement. Yeah. Patty says, "Mailbag Jeff, can you make Booner a Make-A-Wish kid?" Oh, well, that's fucked up.
Come on now. It's disrespectful on a lot of different levels, huh?
That's fucked up, dude. Yeah, that's fucked up, actually. Malik says, Mailbag, which NFL player or any athlete in general do y'all glaze even though they're not good?
That they're not good.
I mean, mine would have to be like,
Caleb Williams.
Well, I was even going to go deeper than that. I was going to say like Giovanni Manu or Hendon Hooker, probably.
That's a good one, actually, for you. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's better for like maybe someone that I talk about a lot. I don't know. I can't think of anyone.
I mean, if I'm thinking of like Lions guys, I like because usually you'll retract. Like if you glaze someone and they're not good, you'll be like, he was
like Broderick. I was wrong. I don't know what else.
Yeah, like Levi, you don't glaze Levi though. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. Maybe the chat would know.
If the chat remembers me, I'm trying to think though. That's not good.
Yeah, the chat would probably know a name. So you guys can say who Booner glazes, who's not good. I already know mine. All right, it's probably locally. We'll say in Detroit, it's probably Hendon Hooker, Giovanni Manu, probably.
Yeah, that's a fair one.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of one for me.
Not good yet, I should say.
Well, Hendon Hooker, that can.
Yeah, well,
shout out Marcus Newsom too. He's comedy. He said, "Love Crunch Time for life."
Hey, shout out Marcus. We love you too.
Do I know Marcus Newsom? I don't know why. I don't know. Shout out Marcus.
Sounds familiar.
No, but the way he's talking, it sounds like he knows me. Which I don't know. He said Boone.
Maurice Norris.
Maurice Norris. I'm not a Maurice Norris like glazer though. I just messed his name up very bad.
Yeah, I guess that's
Maurice Norris.
Yeah, Klotzy does. I see. I know a certain host loves Javon Kinlaw. That's probably Lucas.
Klotzy has like a lot of just random dudes that aren't good that he loves.
Yeah,
dudes that get like a career 300 snaps, and he's like, "They're so good."
He's got a lot.
That guy was a dog, and then I go look him up, and he had like 225 career snaps.
Doris Fountain.
Shout out Doris Fountain. Doris Fountain's my guy, though. He retweeted my tweet like randomly yesterday. I think he follows us. I think last year when I was pumping Dries Fountain up, he followed us, and now he still messes with us.
Anakin says, Mailbag, with the schedule out, how do you plan to fill the 4-month gap? Well, off-season it's off-season. So, the off-season, although you don't have news all the time, it's when you start kind of projecting things for the season. So it's not the end of the world, but a lot of off-season content, obviously talking about other sports. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things there. But yeah, it is 4 months, man. When is the 18th game coming into play?
Yeah, the 18th game wouldn't matter much though, because
it just popped in my head.
It might be.
It brought it up yesterday to me. He was like 18th game next year, right? Not next year, but the following year.
I don't know if they voted it in. They haven't even voted it in yet.
I was like, I don't think the 18th game's coming.
When is
the next year? Not this upcoming year, but following year.
Let me do this real quick. When does the NFLPA end contract? Because they said after that contract, that's when they would re-up it. Oh no, they wanted to actually. That's in 2030. I think Rodgers trying to get it in within like
the next couple years.
Yeah, but it's not next year or the year after, because I mean you would already have to know. I guess it could be next year if they put it in at the end of the season here, but I feel like you would need a little bit of an advance.
U of M dad says need a second bye and raise the roster limit. Yeah, you're going to need that.
Yeah,
second bye for sure.
Well, I actually kind of like it too because, well, the job I work currently, I guess by the time it comes around, we're probably just doing this full time. But like, it's supposed to be on the Super Bowl is going to be Sunday, and then the next day is, I think it's President's Day in February, that Monday. They're trying to line it up to where the Super Bowl is usually the week before that President's Day. They're trying to line it up to where the Super Bowl now would fall on the Sunday before President's Day. So a lot of people get Monday off, which makes sense. Like, that's actually kind of smart.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like when you do break it down a little bit, as long as they do it right. I would hate for them to do it and then it's just all mixed and mangled and guys are getting hurt and But
by the way, I don't Klotzy. I don't. I'm gonna have to call Klotzy. I think right.
I don't know what's going on. To be honest, we've been. I guess we could at this. Are you doing it live? You got to tell them we're live, though. I don't know how he's going to answer the phone. You're making me nervous here. What if he says your real name, Jeff?
Hey, what's going on, Klotz? He said, "What time is it?" Hey, hold on.
No. Tell him he's live on air.
You're live on air. You're live on air. Say hi to the people.
Fuck you.
Klotz, what's going on, baby?
Klotz, did you? What happened?
Oh my god.
Hey, okay. You know what? I'll let you do your thing, bro. I just want to make sure. I just want to make sure you're okay.
I mean, he might have had the greatest nap of his life.
Bro, you sound like you're like, are you like getting freaky over there? What's going on, dude?
No, I feel like I just like I don't even know what the fuck's going on right now.
All right, I'll talk to you. Join after the show, bro. All right, see you.
my guy took a nap, and
I know I had to make sure we didn't say something to get us canceled. But he yeah. I want to make sure he was okay. The guy we texted him he said, "Hey boys, I'm gonna be a couple minutes late." And, he's doing jiu-jitsu now, so it's awesome. So we're like, yeah, no problem.
He said I have to talk to my coach after.
Yeah.
Did he miss jiu-jitsu?
He's going to like a jiu-jitsu freak off or something. I said in the chat, and then he doesn't respond. So I was like, "Is he okay?"
So I texted him too because it got to a certain point. Wait, let me see the timetable here. It got to a certain point where he texted us at 4 and said, "Hey, I have jiu-jitsu. I don't know how to say it until 7:30." And he said, "I have to talk to my coach." I thought it was funny. I have to talk to my coach after. Such a funny statement. It's like a kid telling his like parents, like, "Hey, I got to talk to coach after practice." And then he doesn't say anything. You text at 8:50. When I see he doesn't text back, I was genuinely like kind of worried. I was like, "Is he okay?" And then at 8:05, or 9:20, I texted and said, "Hey, bro, like, are we good? Like, are you good? What's going on? Just tell me you're alive here, Klotzy. Give us something." Freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah, well, we love you, Klotzy, as long as he's okay. So
That was my worry. I generally, like, in the back of my head, I was like, dude, I hope I thought maybe he had jujitsu. He was talking about the other day how. Well, yeah, the other day he got choked out for a minute. He said he almost passed out. I was like, imagine if he got choked out. He's in the hospital and we're just doing the show right now. Like, I was genuinely like, things were going through my head like that. And I was like, imagine if someone just like one uppercut, like kick to the head or something.
It just gets knocked out.
He's just in the hospital while we're here just talking about, I don't know, Tate Ratledge.
Yeah, we're breaking down Tate Ratledge. He's just knocked out of sleep. Hey, you know what though? I had to share. We're a family here, Crunch Time Sports. So we call him as a family. We don't do it. I'm not gonna. We got to see what the fuck he's talking about. Hey, you guys have a great weekend, man. Stay safe out there. We'll see you guys Monday. We got show tomorrow. So Caleb and Mike, they'll be talking. Yeah. I mean, the Tigers are red hot. They'll talk Tigers. So tune in tomorrow, 10 to 11 a.m. They'll be live. Next week, we have big guest plans, so stay tuned for that.
Hit that like button, too.
What were you saying?
Hit that like button to the people.
Hit the like button.
Let's get 100 here.
Just click the like button. It pushes the show out a little bit. So we appreciate you. Have a good weekend. Much love to you all.
Love you guys.
Peace.